mantras of our Divine Mother. Our Divine Mother says all that comes to each one in life comes from the Divine to teach us a lesson, and if we take it in the right spirit, we make rapid progress. With always our love and blessings, says our Divine Mother. Sri Aurobindo's Savitri, Book 1, The Book of Beginnings, Canto 4, The Secret Knowledge, page 72. A rapt solicitor for her love and grace, his bliss in her to him is his whole world. He grows through her in all his being's powers. He reads by her God's hidden aim in things. Or a courtier in her countless retinue, content to be with her and feel her near, he makes the most of the little that she gives, and all she does drapes with his own delight. A glance can make his whole day wonderful. A word from her lips with happiness wings the hours. He leans on her for all he does and is. He builds on her largesses his proud fortunate days, and trains his peacock plumage joy of life, and suns in the glory of her passing smile. In 1,000 ways he serves her royal needs. He makes the hours pivot around her will, makes all reflect her whims. All is their play. This whole wide world is only he and she. This is the knot that ties together the stars. The two who are one are the secret of all power. The two who are one are the might and right in things. His soul, silent, supports the world and her. His acts are her commandments' registers. Happy, inert, he lies beneath her feet. His breast he offers for her cosmic dance, of which our lives are the quivering theatre, and none could bear but for his strength within, yet none would leave because of his delight. His works, his thoughts have been devised by her. His being is a mirror vast of hers. Active, inspired by her, he speaks and moves. His deeds obey her heart's unspoken demands. Passive, he bears the impacts of the world, as if her touches shaping his soul and life. His journey through the days is her sun march. He runs upon her roads, hers is the course. Lord Sri Aurobindo, taken from the collective works of our Lord Sri Aurobindo, book Synthesis of Yoga, Part 1, Chapter 1, The Four A's, new stanza. Lord Sri Aurobindo says, the supreme Shastra of the integral yoga is the eternal Veda, secret in the heart of every thinking and living being. The lotus of the eternal knowledge and the eternal perfection is a bud closed and folded up within us. It opens swiftly or gradually, petal by petal, through successive realizations. Once the mind of man begins to turn towards the eternal, once his heart, no longer compressed and confined by attachment to finite appearances, becomes enarmed in whatever degree of the infinite. All life, all thought, all energizing of the faculties, all experiences, passive or active, becomes henceforward so many shocks which disintegrate the teguments of the soul and removes the obstacles to the inevitable efflorescence. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, he who chooses the infinite has been chosen by the infinite. He has received the divine touch, without which there is no awakening, no opening of the spirit. But once it is received, attainment is sure, whether conquered swiftly in the course of one human life or pursued patiently through many lives or stadia of the cycle of existence in the manifested world. And Lord Sri Aurobindo says, nothing can be taught to the mind which is not already concealed as potential knowledge in the unfolding soul of the Creator. So also, all perfection of which the outer man is capable is only a realizing of the eternal perfection of the Spirit within him. We know the divine and become the divine because we are that already in our secret nature. All teaching is a revealing and all becoming is an unfolding. Self-attainment is the secret, self-knowledge and an increasing consciousness are the means and the process. Lord Sri Aurobindo says in page number 60, the mental energies, the heart's emotions, the vital desires, the very physical being has to be compelled into the right attitude or trained to admit and answer to the right influences. It is only then, when this has been truly done, that the surrender of the lower to the higher can be effected, because the sacrifice has become acceptable. The personal will of the sadhaka, says our Lord, has first to seize on the egoistic energies and turn them towards the light and the right. Once turned, he has still to train them to recognize that always, always to accept, always to follow that. Progressing, he learns, still using the personal will and personal effort, personal energies to employ them as representatives of the higher power and in the conscious obedience to the higher influence. Progressing yet farther, his will, effort, energy become no longer personal and separate, but activities of that higher power and influence at work in the individual. But there is a sort of gulf or distance which necessitates an obscure process of transit, not always accurate, sometimes even very distorting, between the divine origin and the emerging human current. At the end of the process, At the end of the process, with the progressive disappearance of egoism and impurity and ignorance, this last separation is removed. All in the individual becomes the divine working. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, as the supreme Shastra of the integral yoga is the eternal Veda secret in the very heart of every man, so its supreme guide and teacher is the inner guide. The world teacher, Jagat Guru, is a secret teacher within us. It is He who destroys our darkness by the resplendent light of His knowledge. That light becomes within us the increasing glory of His own self revelation. He discloses progressively in us His own nature of freedom, bliss, love, power, immortal being. He sets above us His divine example as our ideal and transforms the lower existence into a reflection of that which it contemplates. By the inpouring of His influence and presence into us, He enables the individual being to attain, to identify with the universal and the transcendent, says our Lord Sri Aurobindo. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says the full recognition of the inner guide, master of the yoga, Lord, light, enjoyer, and goal of all sacrifice and effort is of the importance, utmost importance in the path of integral perfection. It is immaterial whether he is first seen as an impersonal wisdom, love, and power behind all things, as an absolute manifesting in the relative and attracting it as one's highest self, and the highest self of all as a divine person within us and in the world, in one of his or her numerous forms and names, or as the ideal which the mind conceives. In the end, we perceive that He is all and more than all these things together. The mind's door of entry to the conception of Him must necessarily vary according to the past evolution and the present nature. This inner guide is often veiled at first by the very intensity of our personal effort, by the ego's preoccupation with itself and its aims. As we gain in clarity and the turmoil of egoistic efforts gives place to a calmer self knowledge, we recognize the source of the growing light within us. Our Lord Sri Aurobindo says, we recognize it retrospectively as we realize how all our obscure and conflicting movements have been determined towards an end that we only now begin to perceive. How even before our entrance into the path of the yoga, the evolution of our life has been designedly led towards its turning point.